And good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back to another RSG Jedi Academy. Welcome, one and all. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Hope you have your coffee, your croissant, your breakfast thingies. Welcome. What is the Jedi Academy? That's where we bring the best and the brightest from YouTube and Game Changers together to answer your questions, and then we sprinkle in a little bit of mental damage from the RSG crew to answer all your questions that you have. This is a Q&A show. We're strictly just here to answer your questions about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And the way it works is if you would like to have one of your questions answered, all you need to do is put the question in the chat, and Dr. Finn Medicine Woman will scoop it up. Make sure that it is in the form of a question or has the word question in the beginning, because sometimes people will put questions in there. It still happens. It's more like it looks like a statement, and we will miss it. And they're like, "You didn't get my question." Well, you didn't actually ask the question. You just put a statement in there. So make it easier for us to help you. Help us help you. Help us help you. You know, that's the kind of way it goes. But good morning, everybody. Let's go around and introduce everybody that's going to be on the panel today. We've got, of course, the troll extraordinaire, Dr. Finn Medicine Woman, who is going to be scooping all your questions. Dr. Finn, how is your fine day going so far?
Pretty good. I always wake up early, so I know a lot of you guys are just waking up. At this point, I've been awake for about 4.5 hours now.
My God.
Yeah, I unfortunately have one of those timers that just wakes me up around 5:30 to 6, like every day, without an alarm, and it's annoying sometimes. But yeah, so I've been up for a while doing stuff.
God. Also joining us from the RSG crew is our boy Grim.
Morning.
Morning. I know it's early for you. So I'm sure you got the coffee flowing nicely.
Brains.
Yeah, pretty much. Also joining us is my Canadian alcoholic apprentice from up north, T Money G. What's going on, T Money G? Hey.
Good morning. How's it going?
Oh my God, you're so chipper. Stop it.
It's all an act.
I'm so proud of T Money.
I can hardly see 3 inches in front of me right now.
Well, you don't really need to. You just need to talk, so you can just sit there in the dark and just be like, "I'm so happy." like most of us vampires, because I fall into that category too. I'm so proud of T Money. She's been on time lately. I don't know. Something's changed in T Money. She's growing up before me. She's learning. She's been on time. It's amazing.
It's just the fear of the dark side. Well, I was late that once, and it was awful.
Yes. And of course, joining us after he was here for us briefly last week, but he's here in full body and spirit after his excursion from Fort Wheeling. The one and only Warrior from his channel, Warrior Presents. Warrior, what's going on?
What's happening, y'all?
What's going on, partner?
Not much. Pretty excited to be here and to chat and to talk Star Wars. What else could be happening this morning that would be cooler than that?
I know, right? I mean, it's like, that's science. You can't argue with that. That's factual based. It's damn it, Warrior, you're so wise. So make sure you get your questions in, guys. We can see, I can already see that the questions are coming in hot and heavy already. So, we had one already, Warrior, and this is from, if I'm for Dive Vault K, and this is for Warrior, who was sent to us. It says, for Warrior, which is the I'm going to reword his wording here. Which is the next best Zeta? Oh, you got it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's got a Zeta lead for his Emperor Palpatine. He's pretty new. He's running an EP team, and he's got Scion and Darth Nihilus and some others, Darth Vader, and he wants to know what's the next Zeta. And the next Zeta, in my opinion, it's less about your team and more about the Triumvirate. So I think people need to start seeing the world that way. And so you got to do Scion first, in my opinion. He's the tank, and he becomes completely overpowered with his Zeta. After him, Darth Nihilus Unique. Definitely because the Darth Nihilus Unique isn't as a great addition since you're running a Zeta Palp lead. But if if you're not running Zeta Palp lead, the Unique becomes a little less important. So definitely Scion first.
Yeah, even if let's say that they can only get like a 3-star or 4-star Scion Gear 11, would that still be viable with that Zeta?
Yeah, in fact, he's running like a 4-star Gear 10 Scion, but it's going to make his 4-star Gear 10 Scion just that much better.
Gotcha. See, we learned something here.
There was another part to that Warrior 2 that he wanted help with, and that was using the Emperor Palpatine team to fight Night Sisters. He's having difficulty with that. So any suggestions for him? Because he was thinking about potentially putting in Shore Trooper to help with removing Plague. So what are your thoughts on that?
So I run the exact same team basically that he runs, and I don't have issues, but I've also switched to a lot of health mods, and so speed and health instead of speed and protection. So most of my characters are going to be healthier versus have protection, and the reason for that was the Sith raid. But the only exception to that for me is Scion, and I kept him offense mods and potency mods, and the reason for that is if he can survive to the point where he gets to use his special, he regenerates 100% health, and he'll just drop Plague automatically on his own. And if he dies from the Plague after he has that, it won't matter anyway. He'll just come back to life. So yeah, I actually still have two people that run Night Sister teams. Both of them are very complicated and difficult comps, but with my EP team, I still seem to walk through it pretty easily. So I have a feeling it probably has to do with speeds that he's experiencing what he's going against. And he might want to consider increasing the amount of health. The other thing is Shore Trooper as a sub-in for those one-time battles isn't a bad idea. That do a double tank situation, have Shore in there. The only problem with Shore is I've seen him stun Shore and then stun lock him and just keep him stun locked the whole battle because she's not nice like that.
She's a bitter old woman.
Yeah, she's yeah. Welcome back.
She's very angry. Wow, the questions are really flowing in.
Well, before we jump into the questions, one of our longtime viewers, Vito Anto, put a comment in the chat, and he says it's his daughter's birthday today. Daughter's name is Dahlia, so he was wondering if we could give her a shout out. She turns 7 today.
Oh.
Happy birthday, you are. 7 you have turned.
Happy birthday, Dahlia.
Happy birthday, Dahlia.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Dahlia. Happy birthday to you from Warrior.
Sing again.
I won't quit my day job, I promise.
Much to
I have
learn.
to do that as my day job to pay off crazy excuses that I'm still finishing that.
Yeah, do you know about that Warrior? About Finn having to do a little, him and Crazy got into a territory war. She won, so now he has to do the song of her choice and put it out for the world to see.
Yeah, so I heard about it. I haven't seen the results yet.
None
of us have.
Yeah. When could we expect that, Finn? I get a lot of questions about that.
I told Crazy my goal is the end of next week to have it for her to review, and then we'll pop it out the following week, hopefully.
Well, you are shooting a music video, so this could take a while.
How about you just reduce the production value a little bit and just
No, there will be no skimping on quality with my offer. It'll be the only saving grace of the entire video.
If Finn's going to make a complete ass out of himself, he's going to do it right. But happy birthday. All right, so next question. Let's go to Team Money. This is from Sanely Red. And the question is, what speed should Emperor Palpatine, Thrawn, Scion, and Nihilus be for Rena? My Vader is at 230 speed. This is a good question.
Okay, so Vader is at 230. And then he's got Scion, EP, who else?
EP, Thrawn, Scion, and Nihilus.
Thrawn, Scion, and Nihilus. Well, I think the key to that team is to not have EP too slow. You really need Emperor Palpatine to basically be going right after Vader throws his saber. So if your Vader is landing, say, 2 dots in a speed down and takes those 3 off, that's 15% turn meter, turn meter gain. So you want him to be going, as quickly as possible after that. Really, it's Emperor Palpatine that gets the train going for the team. Everybody else is wonderful and bonus, but I find EP goes first. Teams with very fast Scion are great too, but on defense you don't want Scion to be too fast because you're going against Rex, and you want Rex to be stunned before he throws up his tenacity up. If Scion goes first, he'll maybe lift off like one buff, maybe like a crit avoidance buff or something like that off of one of the tunes, and then you're like, hooray, you throw tenacity up and then off you go. So it's just kind of that balance with Scion not being too fast. I find it's the order that's the hardest to beat, because I run Rex all the time against them, is Vader, of course, but closely followed by EP, and then Nihilus to draw the cooldowns, and then Scion, and then you're done for, really, because once Nihilus draws the cooldowns out, then you've got Rex with pain on him, and you've got Rex with his cooldowns reduced. Of course, if Scion's putting pain on everyone, then you've got everybody with a debuff on them, so that Thrawn's going to when Nihilus pulls the cooldowns, it's going to absolutely get everybody. But so it's the intricate balance of Rex. It's going to change soon, but that's what it is right now.
I was just going to throw in too that if somebody's like needing a really dumbed down layman's version of how to mod for speed, because this is the issue. Rex gives just a crap ton of turn meter. People have a hard time tracking how much they're getting from where. Like, it's really complex. How many crits did I get? For who got crit? There's 7.5 times. And same thing with EP. It's like how many did they fall off just now? Was there 7 or was there 9? So the best way to really mod your team is by the 20% rule. You've never heard of this before, I'm sure. Hopefully this helps everybody. This is just something I kind of came up with that works most of the time, and I call it the 20% rule, because I mod 20% less speed, 20% less speed, 20% less speed. So the percentages help, because most of the abilities don't kick more than 20% turn meter to the team at any one time, most of the time. Now, that's not necessarily true with like a Poe, but for most of the situational things with Rex and EP and stuff, it does. And so if you have someone that's at a particular speed, find what 80% of that character is, and then shoot to get that next character that you're looking to be second fastest at 80% of the first person. And then so on and so on. Keep doing 80% of the previous person. That way, when everybody's turn meter fills up, there's going to be a logistical feel to it. But if you don't do that, what happens is they're all pretty close. You got them all fast, and then you get a turn meter boost. They all hit 100% turn meter, and then RNG just has a fun fest, and they're like, EP goes first. No, wait, Thrawn goes first. No, wait, this time
first. Now you get to go first.
Yeah. You get to go first. And so what happens is that nobody can create any kind of strategy, because they're like, it's so stupid. Every battle is different. Every time I battle, I throw the calling blade, and then a new person gets to go first, and it's like, what's going on? So if you create what I call the 80% rule, you will create a stair-step situation with your turn meter that even when everyone gets boosted, it kind of still keeps. And the reason why I'm dumbing it down to this is because there is math, okay? But I'm not the best at maths that most people are, and I'm not. So I wanted something simplistic that I could just really easily apply to my playout. So sometimes TI gives me these algorithms, and they're like, hey, have fun with that. And I try and figure it out, and it's so complex. And I'm just like, listen, I get, Sith Assassin has to be 80% times, 1.2, divided by my crappy math. But it's one of those things. I needed something that would help me stair step, and this 80% rule has made it very consistent with EP teams, very consistent with Rex teams, things like that.
All right. Anybody else about the old EP team and stuff? All right, let's go to the next question. We'll give this to Grim. And the next question is from Thomas Hawk. What's the ideal Zeta order for a Night Sister Heroic Sith Arena team?
That's probably not the best question to ask me, because I haven't done Heroic yet.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Chi Money, anybody? Bueller?
Yeah, sure. I mean, with the heroic, you need to have Ventress's lead. That's the one. That's the first and foremost one that you need, if nothing else. And then it's best if you have a weak little puny zombie to bring along with you into that, because everybody who dies is going to increase Ventress's offense, and that's really what you're depending on is her offense. Then Ventress is unique, I think, is the next best one after that. And then let me just grab the language. I never like to BS in the morning when it's this early.
Word.
Is so. It's when any ally or enemy is defeated, Asajj gains 35% turn meter and gains 15% offense, 15% critical chance, and 5% max health, stacking until the end of the encounter. And that's that. If you're honestly, it's a toss-up. I mean, the leader is so important, but that is just the best Zeta. I did that first of my Night Sisters, and I have my Night Sisters totally decked out. I think I have all the gear 12 pieces on them except for zombie. Of the main 5, and then after that it would be the Mother Talzin Zeta unique, which is that's not even actually essential for the raid. It's when at the start of each enemy turn, if an enemy is plagued, it passes plague along, and you can use that to kind of share plague with the main boss in the raid, because they have such high potency you can't get it on them, but that plague will get it on them in in P1 and P2. You can use that to pass plague over. But I wouldn't actually even say that's essential. I think it's just those two that are really important.
All right. Let's go with this question for you, Grim, then. This is from Camille Buhalski. Question: is it worth it to chase TIE Reaper when we have Slicer? I run Biggs, First Order, TIE Fighter, Slicer, and TIE Advance.
Yes, it is. TIE Reaper is...
Mm-hmm.
Probably, let's see here, other than Slicer, probably one of the best ships in the game, in my opinion, at least. He's amazing.
I mean, even at 5 stars, you can use him pretty effectively, right?
Yes.
I mean...
Well, it's the fact that whenever a ship dies, it reduces the opposing capital ship's turn meter, which is a priceless ability. So yes, it's definitely worth going for.
All right. All right, next question to Warrior. This is from our good friend Corey Delmeyer. Question: why is there still challenge gear in hat rewards? I finished second last night and keep getting those yellow pieces I have over 1,000 of. Any plans to change that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to drag you, Corey, out from underneath that rock really quick. I'm going to take you to the forums. Just kidding, Corey. I'm just kidding. But for real, so this has been kind of an ongoing thing. They've been very communicative about it. And so what happened was they wanted to fix the rewards. They heard loud and clear the community wasn't very happy with the rewards, that they were getting challenge gear and stuff like that. And so they, took a proactive approach to try and fix it. And they thought, if we gave them more currency, they could buy what they wanted, and we could just give them a little bit of rewards, and then they could take their, massive payout of currency and go buy what rewards they wanted. So they fixed it, aka fixed it, and gave a new reward system. Now, the new reward system in this story doesn't turn out as well as it was theory crafted to be. And so sadly, everybody started getting almost no rewards, and the actual amount of currency was not equivalent to purchasing that which they were already getting to begin with. So the old reward system was actually better than the new system, just in logistically what you were getting. And so they know the old system needs to be better, and they know the new system is now not good either. So they went ahead and said, sorry, I think that's amazing that there's this involved with the he said, let's roll it back to the old rewards real quick, and let's leave it that way until we can make a fix that's actually going to make the community happy. So they put everything back the way it was, which is where the old rewards are where they are at. And I'll tell you, people are like all of a sudden like, oh, these old rewards aren't bad at all. This is great. Let's do this. You know? And so, yes, I hear you. They hear you. The reward system that is now in effect for the raids does have challenge gear in it again because they rolled it back to the old school way. But they said they're going to reassess and relook at this after they can kind of get through what they're doing right now. They're right in the middle of we all know Bosk and reworks and a bunch of other stuff. So because of all of that they've announced, they're trying to get through that. So it looks like in the first week or two of May is when they're going to hopefully roll out, and I don't promise anything for them, but it's time when they will hopefully have to roll out that new reward system. And trust me, they do actually appreciate the amount of time, energy, effort, investment, both time investment and money potential investment that everyone's put in. They don't want to give you rewards that make you not want to do part of the game. That wasn't their design. And so when they hear that it breaks their heart too, and that's why they want to fix it. It's just nothing happens fast in this game. I'll let you know that right now. Nothing happens fast. It does take time. I mean, there's so many loops and so many people involved and so much, testing and everything that we have seen times when things were rushed and nobody likes that. So yeah, it'll be fixed. Just from now until then, appreciate it because they could roll it back to the new old fix and it would be and give you like an extra 500 currency and call it good. So I think that the rollback was a good idea.
All right. Next question for Team Money, and this is from our friend Artorius Dark Knight, or as Grandi would say, Dark Knight. Question for Team Money: did she ever do the visual graphic matching every CLS raid events with the sequential quarters of the fiscal year yet?
No, I'm actually working on. God, that sounds so nerdy. I'm like, actually, no, I haven't done the sequential coding of the financials versus the legendary events.
Come on, T. Come on, T. Embrace your nerdiness. We know you do it.
I am working on a. I'm working on a episode. I don't know what the heck you call it. I'm working on a special right now that's kind of like a series that's more of kind of like damn you, if EA is listening, they're gonna shut off my YouTube channel. Like a little EA expose that just kind of really goes over, like, I love this game. I'm not gonna stop playing this game. God, I wish I could stop paying for this game, but I think it's good that we all do that with like a real conscious kind of choice. And so I'm going to put that together, but I've decided to make it kind of more of a little series, just making it kind of like financials of gaming, and to go over some of the like gaming theory and theories around gambling and that sort of thing. I had a counselor that I know tell me the other day that psychologists who are in Canada can't vis-a-vis their code of ethics work for gaming companies, and that kind of just put me back on my heels and made me realize, like, there's kind of a story here to be told. So who is working for the companies? What's the what's kind of the base of what's going on, and also what are their what are kind of the rewards that they reap off that. So that's coming. I do not have that in my pocket right now, though.
All right.
Hey, Team Money, I have a follow-up question.
Hey, Grande.
Hey, what's up?
Look, everybody, it's a French tickler, Grande Patron.
How's it going, everybody? No, but I'll watch it, but only if it's going to be an after-school special.
Of course, it's going to be an after-school special.
Perfect.
This is the only reason I get up before after school.
Well, I gotta listen to some Team Money after-school specials. I might learn something,
I bet you would, Grande. Grande, are you able to answer some questions, or are you just here just to hang out and have some fun?
I'm a great multitasker. I can do multiple things at one time. So
you said that before, Grande.
Yeah, absolutely. I can answer some questions.
All right. Well, let's give you a question then. This is from our good friend Nathaniel Miller. And his question is, for those of us without JTR, what's the easiest to farm gear teams to do our part for our guilds in the Sith Raid?
So, without JTR, you'd be looking at like a Chex Mix team for P3. So you'd be looking at you'd be looking at some kind of like CLS 4 attacker team with OG Han. There's also a lot of the teams that you can run are going to be similar to teams that you would run either in that you would run as TW teams or that you would run as TB teams. Imperial Troopers, a First Order team with a crew lead. Those are some teams that you can run with Thrawn, Night Sisters. It's another great team that you can run at P4. There's a lot of great teams. Those are probably the ones that come to my mind first off. There also are some teams that have that run with Rebel Officer Leia Organa Rolo that you could also run. Those are probably 4 teams that you could run. Here's the other thing too: if you don't have JTR at this point, we already know what the requirements are to get JTR. A First Order team so that you can get BB-8, and then BB-8 and the veteran Chewbacca and veteran Han. The events already come twice. I would highly suggest that you farm those pieces to 7-star so that you could be able to unlock her. She's a very great character to have, and you need to focus on that for probably a couple of months so that you can get ready that the next time she comes around, you'll be able to have her.
All right. Thank you for that, Grande Patron. Everybody there, Grande Patron. Don't you worry, Grande. We'll get you some more questions. All right, next question for Grim. This is from Ed Squed. Question. With the changes coming to ships soon, TM, do you expect these will involve hardware upgrades and ship Omegas finally arriving, or something completely different?
I think it could possibly be both, because during some of the Q&As they were talking about, well, they didn't really elaborate too much, but they said there are some big changes coming for ships and a possibility of PvE. So maybe that'll be where we get the ship Omegas from. I seriously hope we do, because I'm staring at a 7-star silencer with cruise ability begging for that Omega, and it's causing me troubles with OCD and stuff. But yeah,
maybe we'll be lucky and they'll drop as often as the Omegas do in the Cantina nodes.
What do you mean, T-Money?
They don't drop.
I don't know. I've had some pretty good luck with the Death Trooper node.
Well, you're to be the only one.
Omegas.
Yeah.
They must have turned that up.
All right, next question back to the top to Warrior. This is from Josh Rogers. He says, question. I'm a free-to-play player. I have a lot of level 1 characters. Should I level them up and gear them to a certain level, or just focus on the key tunes in the game? Thank you.
I think you need to come up with a roadmap for yourself. I have a roadmap that some people follow, but I don't pretend to think that everybody wants to follow my roadmap. I just create a really efficient one. But for anybody who wants to kind of follow their own path, you got to create a path, and it has to be clear and concise. What do you need? What do you want? So, if you're looking to get BB-8 and JTR because you want to be able to get Traya, and you have to have a JTR team to do it, then your path is going to look like Resistance and the Jedi or the veterans, smugglers, and I would hyper focus on those 5 individual characters, getting them. They're all free to play, so get them and farm them and gear them. If you don't have Thrawn yet and you're like, I don't really know if I need him, okay, stop it. You need to get 5 rebels up for Thrawn, very specifically the Phoenix. So it's one of those things where you have to have a goal in life to make anything happen. And I tell my kids that all the time, like, write your goals down. But it's the same in the game. I mean, even if you're playing for fun, if you're playing for fun but wandering aimlessly, at some point it no longer becomes fun. It only becomes fun when there's progress. And the only way for progress to occur is for you to establish what progress should look like for yourself. And if you're unsure, that's where you go to YouTube and other people like me, and we can help you create goals. But definitely create goals for yourself. Figure out what it is you want to accomplish in this game, short term and long term. And then how do you get there? What's the roadmap? What does that look like? Now, if you were to ask me on this stream, I have a goal to get X character, Y character, or this faction, then I can set up a roadmap for you if you're struggling with that. But definitely you got to have goals.
All right.
As long as the roadmap doesn't go through Ugnaught.
Oh, God, no. Please, Jesus.
Well, a lot of ours went through Ugnaught, and that's not our fault. We were told
I'm
that
so
Ugnaught
sorry.
was a
The
roadmap.
stream is buffering.
We were-
but
It's what?
Is it?
buffering. It's coming through, but it's just buffering. I don't know if there's anything.
Oh, let me look. Let me look.
Well, looks fine to me.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit of fluctuation. Let's see here. It looks like it's okay now. Well, maybe not. No, it's going cray-cray.
It's me. I'm too much.
That's true, too. You can't handle the tea.
Do you want me to beatbox us out of it?
I mean, no.
No? Okay.
Ukulele would be better.
Oh, it's too far away.
I give it a second here.
Tiptoe through the buffering.
What is with the 10 o'clock hour lately? I don't know. I get these weird packet or something that goes on with the internet where it's like everything's
Do you
fine.
maybe have your antivirus set to run around this time?
No, the antivirus runs like at a funky time that's not this, so I know it's not the anti. That's a good call, Finn, but
Yeah, Bill Gates knowing what's better for your computer than you do.
yeah, for real. All right, let's see. I mean, it's not as bad as it has been, so getting some drop frames here. Give me a second. Let me see what this is doing. Well, poopy in the pants. Yeah, hang tight, guys. I don't know what's going on here. Give me a second.
It's weird. It happens at the same time every weekend, eh?
I know, right? It's really weird because I stream like a mad fiend, and sometimes I have no issues, but then it's like I don't know, and it's I don't know what the deal is. All right, come on, quit jerking our chain here, gun.
Windows Update trying to run something, or
No, nothing trying to run. It just it's some kind of I've narrowed it down to something's got to be going on with the internet. So where they're sending some kind of packet or something, because all of a sudden the internet itself, because I can watch the KBS start fluctuating, and I don't know what that is.
Hey, this is not your mature channel.
What do you mean KBS is kilobytes per second?
We don't need to talk about fluctuating on the
No,
all ages
T-Money.
channel.
That's
Maybe
wrong.
T-Money should just sing for us. Hit us through the bass.
Yeah.
I have like the Bodyguard theme song just like right here in my
Please,
chest that I
no.
just want to sing. I'm really trying hard, so please, Crow.
oh god, mute. Where's the mute button?
And it usually lasts 5 minutes, so I'm just waiting for it to calm down. Quit giving us draw frames. Come on now.
In the meantime, I am still collecting questions, so keep those questions coming. We're
Yeah, keep the questions coming.
building
guys.
up the queue for you guys.
It's just buffering. It's not like it's
Yeah, everything
we're
will
just-
come
So
through.
we're still on?
Yeah, we're still on. It's
Yeah,
just
well,
we're not.
stop being
We're not.
boring.
I just stopped the stream. It's just buffering.
What question were we on?
I've got it covered. Don't you worry about that, young lady. Boy, it's being really sporadic at the moment. Oh, I hate when it does this. It just does it for like 5 minutes and then it goes, oh, we're good.
Hermit Yoda is so break my heart cute. I just can't take it.
I know, he's a little old man. How can you not just love him? Well, not a man. He's a little old frog.
I wonder what he is. I wonder if we'll ever find out that story.
It looks like it's gotten better.
I think they're gremlins that got fed after midnight.
Well, he does live in, a place with a lot of water, so.
I think it's clearing up. There's a little bit of lag, but it's not giving me the buffering now. It just keeps on sputtering through, so it looks a little bit better.
Well, I'm still getting fluctuations, so I'm looking. I want it to be stable because I don't want to start doing questions, and then we're sitting here like the chat erupts into like, no. Give one more minute here. I think it's still. This is weird.
I'm just trying to figure out what time zone is midnight for the gremlins when you gotta wait to feed them.
Right.
Arg. Don't you hate when you're farming character shards and you're like, oh yeah, I'm almost there. Farm, and you get to where you have done your last refresh, you can't afford any more crystals, and you only need one more shard.
Hang tight, guys.
I'm at 91 out of 100 on Reaper. I've been there for 2 days.
Oh, I gotta tell you, I did that exact thing with First Order Executioner. I think I had done the 100s and the 200s on Cantina, and I was one away from having him done. And I was like, I never buy the 400 Cantinas. Today I do.
Yeah, I can't afford that one, but I'm at 84 of 85 for First Order Executioner.
Yeah.
Patience, Padawan.
At least it's not. I'm 290 of 310 away.
Yeah, that's true.
I just finished my Reaper. Oh my gosh. I was just like, yes! I beat you, game! I win! Yeah. Now I'm like, ooh, now what? What do I do? I still don't have...
I'm trying to figure it out too.
Yeah, I still don't have the shuttle, and I still don't have the Falcon, so I've been doing the Falcon. But I want both of them.
You'll love that one.
Yeah.
Falcon's a fun 3 to 4 month endeavor.
Ugh, man. I'm just at 5 stars too. I'm like halfway to 6 stars with it, so it's gonna be a while.
There's a fun team that you can run, especially if you like to run Executrix, or the Executrix, however you want to say it. And you actually run the Phoenix ships, and man, everybody runs Phoenix, has to do Phoenix anyway to get Thrawn, so they might as well have those ships up. And then you have, Biston in there and everything. And the I can't remember which one of the two Phoenix, but he puts itself and a target ally into stealth. I believe it's the whatever 2. And you stealth the Millennium Falcon, and then of course you just do your buff stack ability, and then the next turn, provided no AoEs went off, you go and with the offense up from Executrix and being in stealth, not being targeted, the 3 attacks will kill 3 to 5 of the opponent's ships in one fell swoop. And it is not the fastest thing in the world, but if you can set it up right, you can knock down the opponent's team no matter what they have in about 10 seconds. It's pretty fun, actually. It doesn't hold on defense. Nothing does anymore. You'll fall about twice as far as you normally do. So it's got to be something you enjoy ships and want to climb. But there's nothing you can't just decimate in a relatively short period of time.
All right, guys. It's still doing it. So hang tight. Get your questions in. I'm still waiting for it to calm down because it keeps going up and down with the speed.
It's still coming through though, so we might be able just to start a question. We'll just go a little slower and see if we can push through.
All right. Let's see if we can do it. So I'm watching it. So, all right. Next question: is the French tickler still there? That would be you, Grande.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Luis Mendez has a question. My guild currently has the Heroic Sith raid on farm, but they're not calling for mandatory farms certain teams, and I'm afraid we'll fall short of clearing the raid. Should I leave my guild or stay? Also, can Andrew give me a personal shout out with his hilarious Yoda or Emperor voices?
Word with you cannot be done, Luis Mendez. You must unlearn what you have learned.
So his guild has Heroic Sith on farm, but he's worried they won't clear it after they've already got it on farm. Is that basically?
But they're not calling for mandatory farms of certain teams, and I'm afraid we'll fall short of clearing the raid. I don't understand this question.
I asked him for clarification just to see, but I'm guessing they beat it. I don't know if he intended to say on farm. It looks like they're beating it, but he's afraid they still might fall short if they're not careful.
Yeah, especially after you've cleared it the first time, you probably still have to be a little bit careful the next couple of times that you do it. But the thing is that over time the players will get better, right? I've seen it before. The first time we cleared it, we had guys that were barely getting 3 and 4 million total in the entire raid, and now some of those same players are getting north of 6 and 7 million. So you understand the mechanics better. Typically, you don't go from on farm to all of a sudden, oh crap, we can't even complete it. That doesn't. I've never seen that before. I'm sure it's possible. I've just not seen it. What should you farm? I think it goes back to what characters do you need? What's your biggest area of deficiency, and what teams do best in the raid? That's what you need to do. Making things mandatory. Here's a great example. In my guild, we had a big conversation about whether or not we should recommend that people buy Visas Mar out of the shipments to 7-star. It was a huge conversation, not mandatory, but just a recommendation. It's very hard to make really strict recommendations on what somebody's doing for the entire guild. Everybody's roster's at a different place. Some people have invested a lot of resources in one area and not in another. So rather than making this mandatory or that mandatory, I think it would be more beneficial for the guild as a whole if you looked at everyone's roster individually and figured out what's the best way to maximize resources for this person to get ahead, and then do the same thing for the next person and the next person and the next person as they go along.
All right. I think we're still getting lag. Love of God. All right.
Feels like we're trying to farm those last few shards of the Reaper.
Right?
I know.
Is it your internet, Ranger, or is it just OBS?
It's the internet. It's not OBS, because this is not an OBS issue. This is straight up an internet issue. I know I've seen this happen before, where it starts dropping frames, and then I'm looking at the KBS, it starts fluctuating. It's something with the internet. I swear to God.
Have you tried closing out Chrome or your browser? That sometimes starts eating up the stuff.
I don't think
Chrome is awful.
I've never had that issue before with Chrome.
It's done it for me.
It's done it for whether it's Mozilla or Chrome or whatever. This has happened in all those circumstances. So it's not the browser.
All right. Well, we can go on to the next question.
Yeah, we'll just take it slower. All right, next question will go to Grim. This is from Gerard Le Canu. I hope I'm saying your name right. Question: who to farm first for Heroic Sith Raid? Hermit Yoda or Wampa? My guild already has the Heroic on farm.
I'd say Hermit Yoda. Personally, I think he'd be more useful in the raid than Wampa, because the amount of teams he can be put in.
Okay, I'm looking Boy, this is really pissed me off. Alright. Well, we'll just have to power through it. Alright, next question. Let's see. Team Money. This is from Ancient Farmer. Question: should I gear 12 Hermit Yoda for heroic Sith raid or keep him at gear 11? He doesn't do damage, so not sure if it's worth it.
What I say with Hermit Yoda, what I have mine at, is to get those 2 MK6 speedballs on him at gear 10, and then it's kind of up to you. I think with, if you're trying to escape him, then, the extra health and protection is going to do you a lot of good, for sure. And, the extra health pool when he is not stealthed is a big benefit. But that's kind of the minimum that I tell people for if we're putting him with territory wars or whatnot. He's the only tune that I will keep at gear 10 until I don't. I love him, so I think it's just gonna one of those guys that I'm going to take him to gear 12 just because the little green man deserves it. But I don't think you're going to increase your score by like a huge amount just by having him at gear 12 instead of gear 11.
All right. Next question for Warrior. And this is from I Spank Myself. That's I Spank.
that's my alt account, actually.
No, it's not. What do you think of the leader ability that gives turn meter whenever an enemy resists a debuff? Would it work well in Heroic Sith, Rex teams, Tenacity buff, etc.?
Yeah, it in theory is going to work, but then it's who gives you that capability, and then of course is that team actually viable, even though that one mechanic is cool and would work. So I think that's the balancing act question. I think what has been discovered are solid teams, and I think if you can put together any of the existing teams that have been shown, then I would go that route. It's kind of the just the path of least resistance. Figure out what is working. Other people have figured that out already, so do what you can with that. But if you are a theory crafter, love to theory craft, then do that. Try it out and see how it works for you. And you might find that it works well, and you might find that while you get that a benefit, it's not translating well because the team itself is just not doing a lot of damage itself. So something to consider.
All right. Next question will go to the French tickler himself, the beardless one. Grande, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. I never know because sometimes you get phone calls and stuff. You gotta step out.
Yes, sir. I totally understand.
Just the science. This is from Arseny Duran. Question: who is the better Zeta in an EP lead? Thrawn unique or Nihilus unique? Team includes Vader and Scion. Zeta are already on unique. Also, which is a better Zeta in general?
So, specifically on the EP team, I'd probably say Nihilus is unique to give you health down as an extra debuff for Culling Blade would be, and to give you more turn meter would potentially be the better unique. However, overall, right now, Chimera is the fleet commander and the capital ship that we all use, and giving the Zetas, giving both the Thrawn lead and the Thrawn unique Zeta will give you one more speed than most of your competition, and will let your Chimera go first in almost every instance, unless they've also done the same thing. So overall, and the fact that Thrawn lead can be great in Sith raid, Thrawn lead can be great in TW, and in TB. I would tell you that that might be better in every area but PvP. So I think it's up to you. I think that they're both good Zetas. Potentially with Darth Treya coming, having Thrawn maxed out having Nihilus maxed out, so that way you can do Nihilus,
Scion, and Treya might be better for PvE, for PvP, but might not be better in some of the other areas of the game.
All right.
Granger, can I ask the next question?
No, but okay.
Oh, okay. So the next question is for Ramon is up.
Oh.
Hi, Ramon is up.
Hey.
Hey.
Question is from the Tor, and he asks, what are some good team compositions for Hermit Yoda besides an Admiral Akbar lead?
Well, I mean, you could use Hermit Yoda as a 5th in like a Rey Jedi training team, or you could kind of use Hermit Yoda in an Empire team too. I mean, if you yeah, I mean, he really kind of fits in a lot of different spots because of the fact that he's able to heal, and I mean, you know, even though the majority of his benefits go to Jedi, they really are great for everybody. So. I would say, yeah. I mean, if you're asking me for like the best like next fit besides, let's say an Akbar team, I'd probably say like a Rey Jedi training team. But other than that, I mean, you can use him as a 5th in like a Thrawn team. You could use him as a 5th in, let's say like a General Kenobi like Barriss Offee team. Because that would be, you know, if you have a Barriss Offee Zeta with General Kenobi lead, and that might be good, or maybe even a Rex lead with, you know, Barriss Offee and you know, Hermit Yoda. Just you know, some different ideas, but I mean, that's what I would think.
Awesome.
I got to follow up. I think Grim a couple days ago mentioned a team that was a crew-led team, right? You had a First Order team that you put Hermit Yoda on that seemed to do really well, right?
Yeah, it was mixed. Since I don't have JTR, I don't really have a place to put BB-8, so I did a crew lead with First Order officer for. Let's see here. Well, no, it was crew with First Order executioner, First Order stormtrooper, BB-8, and Hermit Yoda. And it did 2.4 mil in phase 2.
And that was a T6 or a T7?
It was tier 6.
Yeah. So we could probably cut that damage in half, but it could still do over 1 million, which is not shabby. Not shabby at all.
And that wasn't at gear 12. Actually, my Hermit Yoda is only gear 9. So.
Okay.
All right. Next question to T-Money. This is from Tenebrous. Question, just about have First Order Executioner ready to go. How should I mod him? I do not have crit damage mod challenge completed. Ooh.
The crit, you don't have the crit damage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just bringing him up. Okay, so I'm not sure. Grim, you take this one. I don't have him done, so and
what was the question?
Grim is a zealot, so I'll pass. Modding First Order Executioner.
He does not have crit damage mod challenge completed.
First, try and get that completed. The Jawas are pretty easy to do. I think I have mine the same, maybe a little bit more geared than they were. And they're all at like gear 6 or 7. So that's, you know, I was really, really reluctant to do that. But really the only mods that I farm, like I need a couple of sets of offense mods that I've kind of got, but the only mods that I farm are speed 90% of the time, and then crit damage, because I see all these guys with these beautiful, you know, plus 20 speed crit damage mods, and I would love to have that. And then health. I've been farming lots of health mods lately for tunes like, you know, DACA or Sith Trooper, that sort of thing. But it is one of the 3 that I do farm regularly. I think it's worth it, and it's pretty easy. You just need you need to try like 20 times to get through and put all of your arena mods on your little Jawas.
Yeah, for like me on my crew, on my Fox, I went speed set and max HP, because you don't really need crit damage on, because the more you hit somebody, the the harder he's going to hit. And like under a crew lead, as long as you're hitting somebody that is debuffed, you're gonna always crit on his basic, which is giving him max hit points and up in his offense. The dude's a monster.
And it's health, right? It's health that gives him it's health that's the stacking offense. It's like as potency is to Darth Sidious, health is to foe with his well, it's not damage with Sidious, but it's he has a bonus offense equal to 5% of his max health.
Yeah, what you need to get him to crit is just to have a team that's debuff heavy. So if you're going into a raid, one of the raid parts where you're not going to get debuffs to stick, then he's going to not hit for nothing. It's going to suck. If you can get him into where you can lay down debuffs, then he's fine. He is guaranteed, in fact, a crit if they're debuffed. So you don't even need crit chance, provided that you have a debuff heavy team.
But like if you're using him in the raid, you know, his what was it, execute, his lay the chop down, that'll give him max hit points, you know, every time he uses that until he kills somebody. So, you know, he doesn't need to crit on that one to be gaining max hit points, which is really nice.
All right. Let's see. That completely threw me off. There's too many. Well, Grim, you're the next one up. So Nathaniel Miller says, question, in the Sith Phase 3, I've had lots of problems when using Isolate on my attacker. The Saber's giving him stagger, then knocking down his turn meter, repeat, dead. What am I doing wrong?
RNG just isn't in your favor. Escape and try again. that seems to be the biggest thing about this raid, is if it isn't working for you, you know, escape and try again until the RNG rolls for you, unfortunately.
I mean, you're talking
unless
about
somebody else has a better one.
Yeah, you talked about that before, T-Money, in Phase 3, like with the lightsabers and what you try to do with it.
Well, you need to have your tenacity up, right? Like that's absolutely key. You need to have like the sabers will put ability block, stagger, and daze on your tunes, and you just need that to fall on the right tunes, right? Like you basically can't have Han have any debuff on him, because if he does have a debuff, it's going to get turned, and you're running Chirrut with him, it's going to get turned into like a healing buff instead of the tenacity up. So you cannot have any buffs on Han when Chirrut throws his tenacity up. You like, if you know Death Trooper has daze, who cares? You know, if Chirrut has stagger, fine, you know, doesn't matter. You just need, like, once you just need them to do their jobs, and then shush and then let Han do his, right? For me and for the tunes that I have and for the mods that I haven't been able to get it to go 2 rounds. I don't know if other people have. It's basically just one nice round for me. And then making sure your Han is modded properly, but it's slow. And I actually just asked. I'm just remodding tonight. We're doing a thing tonight with a bunch of like really, really good Sith Raid folks, and so I'm going with them. I'm not a really, really good Sith Raid folk. I'm just, I don't obsess over that. I obsess over leading our guild and TW. So I'm remodding my roster right now. But Good Old Maurice was talking the other night about having the speeds for Han, was it Han, Death Trooper, and Shrew, I think it is, at like one tick of speed away from each other, right? Like, it's weird. It's not about having them fast. It's about having them, especially Han, slow, because but just as far as the debuffs go, it's RNG. So it's like, the like little wiggly saber put ability block on Death Trooper. Well, that's not going to work, right? Unless Chirrut throws his tenacity up and takes that off before Death Trooper's turn to put Death Mark down. Right, so it's this little balance, and it's also the buffs that the sabers have on. If you come into the match and all 3 sabers have retribution on them, well then out you go, because you're just gonna get way more debuffs that way.
All right. All right. Next question to Warrior. This is from David Rodriguez. Question: in what order would you gear 12 Sith? Who would be the priority, and so on?
Well, I would start with the Sith Triumvirate, and I would make sure that Scion and Darth Nihilus are done. After that, Emperor Palpatine probably because you're going to be using him in Arena potentially, so he's got more viability in more areas of the game. But then after that, it's a toss-up to what compositions you're using. If you're using certain compositions more often, you find yourself leaning into certain characters. Those are the obvious choices to Gear 12. Like a lot of people have said, not Gear 12 isn't required for everybody. I mean, you don't have to do that, but just note if they have a ship, then they would become high priority. So, for example, Darth Vader, he's super tanky. I don't think he needs to be Gear 12, but I Gear 12'd him and threw a couple of Gear 12 pieces on him simply for the fact that I use his ship every day in ship's arena. And you have to always keep the whole game into perspective when you're gearing characters up. So Darth Vader was high on my list. In fact, he was the highest on my list for Gear 12 pieces because of ships, because every little thing helps. And so, yeah, I think you should look at the Sith Triumvirate period. They're the future. Get them to Gear 12, and then look at your pilots like, Darth Vader. And then after that, you can kind of move on to whoever you find you're leaning into the most.
All right. Next question from Thoka. This will go to the Wi-Fi government Steeler Grande.
Yes, sir.
The question is, my arena team is Rex Lead, Ezra, Old Ben, Thrawn, and CLS. I'm thinking of removing Ezra and putting in a 5-star Scion. What are your thoughts?
I think it could work. It looks like right now he's running tankless, right? And so putting in a tank.
No, Old Ben.
Oh, he is running Old Ben, so he does have a tank. I think it would depend on what gear level and what star level you have. Old Ben is a really good tank. But he's going to go double tank CLS Ezra under Rex. I don't,
No, he's dropping Ezra. It would be CLS and Thrawn with Scion and Old Ben under Rex.
So his main damage dealer then is CLS. I mean, it would work. Probably. I mean, if he's doing well in Arena now, though, why change it? It seems like a little bit of a... I mean, it's not a meta team, but if he's doing well, I'd probably say keep it. And I think it depends on what is... on where his Scion is at. A Gear 11 3-star Scion really needs an auto taunter so that you can kind of protect Scion until he's able to get his taunt up and until he's able to get to hatred. Because after that, then he's a little bit unstoppable. But if you're looking at a 7-star Gear 12, then I'd be okay with it. It does seem a little strange. Typically, you run double tank when you're seriously trying to protect a character that's squishy, or you run double tank because one of your other tanks is squishy or needs a bunch of time in order to get ready. So but I don't really think like I said, all of that is depends on where your Scion's at right now.
All right. We'll go to Ramon, if he's still there. This is from Erigu03, and his question is, besides JTR and CLS, what squads do you use to counter against Emperor Palpatine walls?
Well, I mean, Night Sisters are kind of a counter to everything. So you could always go Night Sisters, even though you probably want to save them for your JTR teams. But is it counter to Palpatine that he's asking for?
Yeah, Emperor Palpatine walls.
Well, this might be kind of conflicting because of the fact that, I mean, another Palpatine team would be good against a Palpatine team. I mean, if you have a really, like if you have a Sith Trooper and a Sith Assassin, a Maul team, could work well against them. Also, you could run. I mean, if you have a Zeta on Jin's leadership, and you have the team geared up well, you could run a Rogue One squad against them too. I mean, really on offense, you can beat that team with a lot of different teams if you have the right mods and you have the right Zetas and you have them geared up enough. But the common counters for most of these teams, like I said, are Night Sister squads. Obviously, you could also use like a Zol squad if you have the right components.
All right.
I'll just throw in there. I hate to give away some good info, but I mean, I like the community to be educated. An Empire team versus an Empire team works great. And I'm not talking about using Emperor Palpatine. I'm talking about like a Thrawn-led Empire team works phenomenal. And Magma Trooper's the key, because the issue is they're gaining a bunch of turn meter. Magma Trooper can very effectively counter the turn meter gain with his turn meter reduction. And so he is the key component. If you don't run Magma Trooper, you have to have him really on an Empire team, and it's just a walkthrough. It's just easy, and it's like, what? Why is this so easy? Why is this one guy so important? But it's his turn meter reduction, 30% on everybody. Like, that's a big dang deal when they're gaining turn meter, because it turns people build those teams reliant on the turn meter gain, and if you can nullify that turn meter gain, you can take in a lot. There's a lot of different teams you can take in. Also, B2 Battle Droid is a key component, in my opinion, because he could put the buff immunity, and he's constantly going and putting evasion down and things like that. So so that way you can actually target who you want to target. But Magma Trooper is a key component, you guys. If you're not using him, use him. And then next week when I'm on, you guys can ask me what team I'm with, since I've just disclosed that.
I'll also tell you that I think that go look at the meta report, right? It would be really easy to run. You've got 202 people using a Rex team to beat Emperor Palpatine to get to rank 1 every day, right? And whether that's Rex with Wampa or Rex with Han Solo, they figured they're using that team every day to win an arena. If they're using it to win an arena, then you can also use it to win in TW.
Look at Gron with the knowledge.
That's right.
All right, next question. We will go to T-Money. This is from David Rodriguez. Question: would Maul, Oppress, or Dooku be a good replacement for Sith troopers on a Sith team? I have Emperor Palpatine, Darth Vader, Darth Nihilus, and Sion all at 7 stars.
So, Maul, Savage, or Dooku?
Yeah.
Dooku, we had so in this last Territory Wars, I mean, EP teams are kind of the cornerstone to Territory Wars, and creating great compositions and modding those compositions we spent a lot of time talking about, and they're just very important. So Dooku was a part of a bunch of them that were really, really quite difficult to deal with. With Dooku, he's like the RNG like conductor, right? It's like you have your team and you're setting it in, say it's like a Rex Wampa team. You're like, okay, so this is what's going to happen. I'm going to send in my Rex Wampa team. Vader's going to go, and then Rex is going to get full turn meter, put up tenacity up, and then, but no, because, the first time, say, Dooku gets hit, somebody doesn't have tenacity up anymore, and they get stunned, and now Wampa's sitting there stunned, just not out of a turn, just out of a counter. So it can be, it's just really tricky with how he operates, because he's just kind of like, he's a wild card basically. So I think he works really well on that team, and he also frees up other tunes that you might not be using. Not a lot of people put in Zeta Maul anymore, either because they don't have the 2 teams to put in there. If you do have the 2 teams, I think he works better on the Zeta Maul team. I don't think Zeta Maul is super useful without Zeta Savage and the Dooku. It doesn't have to be Zeta, but I think that those two guys go with Maul if you do have a Zeta Maul team and you're going to put them on. But if not, try Dooku with Emperor Palpatine. I don't know about Arena, but certainly in Territory Wars, he's a tricky one.
All right, next question for Grim. This is from our good friend Zyla Takedown, and his question is: finishing my first order with 29 shards left for Fox. What's my ideal Sith raid team?
Well, it's pretty much the same as the optimal arena team for First Order in Territory Wars. True Lead, Fox, First Order Officer, First Order Stormtrooper, and the Special Forces TIE Fighter pilot.
Yeah. You will go far, my friend, with that lineup.
That team is so fun to play.
It is. Let's see. Next question is from Xanax, and we are back to the top with Warrior. And his question is, do you think with the upcoming Solo movie, there will be a new legendary event character that will need bounty hunters to complete?
A new raid or a new legendary event?
Yeah, I'll read it again. Do you think with the upcoming Solo movie, there will be a new legendary event character that will need bounty hunters to complete?
No. I don't know, because I haven't been given any event information, so I'm speaking totally off of just my own opinion. But my own opinion is that it will be marquee event to get a 3-star. They've already made it pretty clear that most characters, except for the rare off chance characters like JTR or CLS, most characters are going to be marquee. They're going to have a approximate 6-week window of pay to play, so people who want that jump start can have it, and those who don't can just have a 3-star and start gearing up to gear 11 slowly over time. And then after that, they'll go into shipments for crystals. So free to play or pay to play can buy them slowly or fast through shipments, and then after about 6 weeks or so, or 3 months approximate, they will go free to play on a node somewhere on the board, and that they're not going to go into any of the stores anymore, that the stores are kind of full, and that they're going to go into nodes. The ship, they did mention the ships will have new nodes, and so that'll open up new spots to get new characters, which might make actually having to focus on ships more important, because you may not access certain characters without being able to get through those ship nodes, and if you ignore ships, there may be some characters you won't be able to access for your own fault. So, but I don't think anyone's going to be required. Anytime it's a marquee event, as we all know with past marquee events, they are open to whatever you want to bring in, which makes them exceptionally easy. Now, obviously, they build them to have the events to have synergy with the faction. So they would be nice. It'd be more fun if you're doing that event that you take in your bounty hunters for that, because they always give you a character to borrow that's the character that so you can kind of learn the character, and so it's kind of more fun if you can take in recently reworked characters in with you to that marquee event. But if you can't, you can take anyone in to beat it at the end of the day.
All right, next question for the French tickler. This is from Boba 140100. Question: any improvements to my fleet arena? I use Tarkin, TIE Fighter, Darth Vader, TIE Fighter, TIE Reaper, Biggs, and Jedi Counselor with Bubba, Wiggs, and Sunfac in the back as reinforcements.
Remove Jedi Consular. That's what I would say. Jedi. He probably needs to remove Jedi Consular. He probably needs to put on. It sounds like we had too many ships. He said he's got Reaper.
He's using Tarkin as his fleet commander, right?
Uh-huh.
TIE Fighter, Darth Vader, TIE Reaper, Biggs, and Jedi Counselor.
Jedi Consular that needs to get removed. We need to remove Jedi Consular, potentially put on another Empire. Gauntlet Starfighter might work.
First Order TIE Fighter.
First Order TIE Fighter might work, even though it's not Empire. Those would be some good ones to use. The other thing too is work on your Phoenix so you could get Chimera. I think that's another big portion of it. Work on work on your Phoenix ships, so the Ghost and the Phantom, and then also get the Rebel ships, so you can make that happen.
All right. Next question for Ramon. This is from Zyla Takedown. Question: I need to fully Omega First Order Officer and First Order Special Forces TIE Pilot. What order should I put the Omegas on those two?
Okay. Man, I'm actually right at this point. I mean, I Omega'd all First Order Officers Omegas like literally just a few days ago. So I'm like right at this point, but I don't have each ability in front of me to tell you which one would be the best.
Do you want me to bring it up for you?
Yeah. Sure.
I'm sorry, who is it? First Order Officer?
First Order Officer and First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, yeah.
So the capitalized deal physical damage to target enemy. This attack has plus 20% critical damage. If any ally has advantage, this attack is a guaranteed critical hit. That's the basic. And then target other ally. The marching orders is the turn meter swap. If the, sorry, let me just go down here. What's it? So it's -1 for the cooldown, and then dispel all the buffs from First Order Officer and target ally. And then pinning shot is plus 15% damage, plus 30% turn meter reduction chance, which I think makes it, I don't know. All First Order allies have their cooldowns reduced by 1. Wow, that's a really good Omega.
It makes it 100% chance.
100%, thank you.
I would say that would be the priority. Then that would be the number one Omega to get done. With the turn meter ability being the second. What was it? Marching orders.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would say those two would be the priorities. First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter is also really good. I don't know. I've kind of got mixed feelings about how you put together a First Order team. I know there's a lot of people that put compositions together differently. Some people are putting together, the First Order Executioner now, especially since he's available. I think he's a good component to the team. I don't know. I still kind of feel like I'd rather have First Order TIE Pilot than First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. But other people feel differently about that. So I mean, if you're going to put First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, I'd have to let me pull up his abilities just to give you a better idea.
I'm saying yay because I accidentally Zeta'd First Order TIE Pilot instead of First Order Stormtrooper one night when I was a little bit tipsy on the Saturday night show.
It was quite entertaining.
Yeah, so any advocates of First Order TIE Pilot, I'm like, yes.
Well, listen, I came from a time in this game when First Order TIE Pilot was OP. Okay, like he was like the guy to have in Arena, and this is like when Qui-Gon Jinn was still a Chromium character, and back then, First Order TIE Pilot was a hard guy to get, so I had to farm First Order TIE Pilot for like forever to get him to 7 stars, and I used to refresh that node all the time, and so getting your First Order TIE Pilot back then to like 7 stars was like a big deal. So when I saw that he kind of fell out of the meta, I was pretty disappointed about that, but I still think he can be useful. He still does a ton of damage, and I mean his double tap is pretty awesome. But just taking a look here at First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, I have him.
First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter is way better. I have to admit that, not the ship, but the character itself in a First Order team with the assist call and everything that he brings to the table now. He's the better choice of those two, sadly.
No.
Yeah, with that speed up, for the entire team and the CC that he can deal out, it's.
But that's the issue, right? First Order TIE Pilot's ship is way better, but Special Forces character is better, so you got to do all 4.
And it's done. Someone's phone is buzzing.
As far as the Omegas are concerned, I would say the basic looks like a pretty important one. 20% damage and 20% chance for defense down. And his unique, oppressive. Sorry, his ability oppressive burst. If target other allies first order, they stun the target enemy for 1 turn. That's when you get to call a target ally to assist. That's probably, I would say, the second priority. But again, if you're going in order of priority, I'd say that first order officers was that his unique ability would be the priority, then marching orders, and then I'd say probably first order special forces TIE fighters basic. But being that Warrior seems to know a little bit more about first order special forces TIE fighter, you can give me your opinion.
Well, I just did.
Yeah, I was saying he did.
I don't mean about the character. What I'm saying is like as far as like the priority of Omegas.
Well, the basic is not necessary. You don't have to do that. But I think the first special with the speed up for 2 turns is something that if you're going to use them, you absolutely have to. And then I would also do oppressive burst. So the second and third ones are required if you're going to use them. But the first one is if you've got the Omegas finally that you've saved up a little bit and you want to finish them off, then great. But the only one that I say is not really necessary is the reciprocation, which is his basic.
And would you Omega Special Forces first or Officer first? Which one do you think is more crucial to the team?
Officer. Which is funny because I don't even have Officer on my free-to-play farming guide, but people get all butthurt about that. But I'll tell you, there's a reason why I did that. First Order Officer doesn't have a ship, and everything I did was hyper-efficiency. So my First Order team that you can build with my free-to-play farming guide isn't the most overpowered First Order team in the game. That's not the way I built the guide. I didn't build the guide for it to be a specialist in every single faction. It's how few characters can I farm to get everything in the game? That's what it's about. It's about max efficiency. So if you're a crazy First Order fan, you're going to have to add a couple more people to my farming guide to get the team that you're looking for.
I'm going to go on a little tangent here just to ask you about that really quick, Warrior. For BB-8, right, you need 5 First Order, and we've gotten this question a few times on other streams and stuff. What would be the 5 First Order you would recommend for a newer player to farm in order to get BB-8 in terms of like easiest or location? What would be your 5?
And so on my free-to-play farming guide, these are the ones I recommended. I knew that First Order Executioner and Unmasked were going to go farmable, and so I said in my guide that it will change to include those 2 characters. And then, of course, First Order Officer, Captain Phasma, and the First Order are Kylo Ren, OG Kylo Ren. So the First Order TIE Pilot and Stormtrooper, while albeit they're easier to farm now than they were 2 years ago, they're both still difficult. They only have a couple nodes and occasionally drop in the other stores. The Special Forces TIE Fighter is really good, and you could farm him. The problem is there's a conflict with where you can get him at the same time. So if you are not time constrained, then obviously you'd want First Order Executioner, Kylo Ren Unmasked, Kylo Ren, First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, and First Order Officer. But the thing is, Captain Phasma and First Order Officer you can get elsewhere while you're using Cantina for others. And so because of time, a lot of times people don't have the time to sit here and farm up 2 characters or 3 characters inside of Cantina. That's where Captain Phasma and First Order kind of help because you can get them faster elsewhere. And so while it's not the optimal First Order team long term, it's the fastest team. And I think that's, I guess, what I always look at is what's the most free-to-play friendly and fastest you can do. So with that, it would be because First Order Executioner is so low and it takes so little. I mean, I've only been farming him for a week and I'm only 50 away from maxing him and I only do 100 refreshes, 100 refreshes. That's it, 300 crystals a day. I know for some people they're like, my God, that's a lot. But for others, that's like, really? He doesn't even hit the 200s. So it's all a matter of perspective. But he's on a low node. Same with Kylo Ren Unmasked, low node. Kylo Ren, OG Kylo Ren is Cantina, and we just know Cantina farming is easier and faster than the hard nodes, even at 5 a day. So, and then of course, Captain Phasma, you pull out a store. She's not competing with anybody. So I hate the fact that there's so many Cantina characters, and what it does is it forces you a choice. You either have to be patient and go for all the characters that are in Cantina that matter, that will help you long term, or you do that. The other reason why I recommend Captain Phasma is she's part of the ship with Kylo Ren, right? And First Order officer. So there's a ship, and so they make sense because they have a ship, and they're pilots or crew members. And so I always look at that as well, because at some point in the future, I am sure of it, mark my words, every faction will have relevance in ships. And when that happens, if every faction eventually has relevance, you'll want every crew member, and people will all of a sudden want Captain Phasma, who they said wasn't viable. So it's just one of those things where I think they try to create usability for everything in the game, and they're constantly revisiting everything and going, nobody uses these characters. How can we get them to use these characters? Because these are their babies, right? They created these within game, and they don't want them to sit on the shelf collecting dust. They want us all to play with them. So that's where they're constantly coming up with the new modes and the reworks and blah, blah, blah.
So maybe one day Lobot will be useful.
So no. So sadly, I think there's at least 5 characters that probably will never see viability. I think they were filler characters on day one to just kind of, put their initial 62 characters out and have like a basal, line of characters. Lobot, I think, is one of them. I think Ugnaugh's probably one of them. I think Mob Enforcer is probably one of them. Which kind of hurts my heart because Cup is probably on that list, and I like Cup because it is a cop. He or she, we don't know because wearing the outfit, but Cup's a cop, and so I was like, yeah, that'd be cool to have a cop and whatever. I don't think some of those, Jedi Knight Guardian. There's just some I don't think they'll ever get reworked because nobody cares anymore, and they know that, and they want to focus on more important characters.
Yeah. Crushing my dreams, man.
All right. Next question, Ranger.
I think he fell asleep.
No, I was on mute for a second because I was coughing. Sorry. All right, next question to Grim. This is from Darth Skywalker. Question: how did Night Sisters do against Zeta Palpatine teams? What do you think, Grim?
They can beat them. I mean, just hope that their Vader doesn't go before anybody else, because then, yeah, it does get kind of brutal. But, it can be done.
Yeah, I think EP's got the advantage. I don't know. I guess you'd be using a weak zombie, maybe, because he's going to be getting murdered a lot. That you get your turn meter and stuff. I don't know. I don't have any problems with the EP team against the Night Sisters. Yeah. Okay. Next question, T-Money. This is from Bonfan from my Guild MC2. Question: once I get Gear 12 Hoda and Wampa, should I save currency for a new tune to be added to the GE store when they eventually add a new territory battle map?
Ooh, I've been thinking about this lately, and I think I don't know. I think that there are only a few stores right now. Actually, maybe the Guild event store is the only one that is going to get any new tunes according to them, right? So Ships is off the list. Cantina, Galactic War, they took all of these off, and they said we are not going to add any new tunes here. So that was very freeing for me. I was like, people were like, boo. I was like, yay, I can farm my shard store currency without this like looming, you're irresponsible T-Money for not having currency in the bank. Now I gotta spend it all. It's awesome. So, but the Guild event store, it was not on that list. And so, definitely somebody else could go in there. What I would do, and what I will do once my Wampa is done, I have 7-star Hermit Yoda, and my Wampa is getting there. I think I have another 120 to go, something like that. I will build up some currency in the store so that if and when something drops, I'll be, I'll be a couple weeks ahead of the game, at least to maybe that 145 unlock. So maybe, something impressive, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000 pieces in there, and then I'll buy gear out of there for sure. And I don't tend to buy 12 gear out of there. I don't know, rightly or wrongly, but I'm kind of a mid-level player. My GP is 2.8, and so there's still a lot of really key tune, and I have a really top-heavy roster, so I have a lot of Gear 12 and Gear 11 tunes, and not a lot of like Gear 8, Gear 9, Gear 10 tunes. So when I'm buying gear out of there, often I'm just giving myself a little treat to like top up Carbantes and cuffs because they're cheap. Like they feel really cheap in there. So I'll probably continue to do that. And then get some of those key Gear 12 pieces. If they're opening up Gear 13 anytime soon, like that's kind of a different issue. But there's a lot of, like, I have a lot of pieces right now that I'm not even using. Like, why does Barriss need a piece that requires her to have, or that benefits her offense? Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. The only sense that makes is that she's got to go from Gear 12 to 13 at some point, and you're gonna have to give it to her. So yeah, but I don't know. I don't see Gear 13 coming anytime soon unless they screw up so bad with how many Gear 12 pieces they're giving us that they kind of are forced to open up Gear 13 ahead of schedule. We do know that the other Gear 12 pieces are coming, but the G5 and 6, or sorry, G4 and 5, but I don't think that that sixth Gear 12 piece and then opening up Gear 13 is going to come for, I don't know, for a long while. Months.
All right.
No.
Next question to Warrior. This is kind of a strange question, but okay. Darth Skywalker has a question, and it's, what team would you run in arena to troll other people? Warrior, what do you think, buddy?
That's difficult. I don't know, because that's something that would take me a minute to like think about.
I think it's gonna take a minute for all of us. What team do you use to troll other players?
I don't know. Yeah, everybody. If you can come up with one. I mean, the issue with trolling is what your intention is it looks crappy, and then somebody fights you thinking that they're fighting a crappy team, and then it's amazing. I think the way if I wasn't in like the top 10, if I was just in like the top 400 and I wanted to troll, I think that would be more fun. And I think a lot of people listening are probably in this situation. I would totally do a Gear 10 Phoenix team, but put like I would buy as many good mods in the store as possible, make them as fast as humanly possible, and then Zeta them all. And everybody would go, oh, a Phoenix team with Gear 10, that's trash. And then they would go and they would fight it, and they would get their rear end handed to them and go, why?
No. Why is this happening?
Do something like maybe say Royal Guard, Shore Trooper, Stormtrooper, GK, and Wampa.
Something I do sometimes if I'm kind of protecting my shard mates is that I'll put in like a bunch of Gear 5 Ewoks, and then I'll let myself fall. Like some like nasty sniper will hit me and I'll fall, and then I'll change my team out and hit them back. But I can't hit them unless I'm below them, so I have to like find some way to tempt them. Come on, kill the Ewoks.
The dark side of the Force. All right, next question. We'll go to the Brown Gandalf. Again from Darth Skywalker. Question: how would Zeta Hermit Yoda do as a 5th in a Night Sister team with a weak zombie? He would get his cooldowns reset 100% turning each time zombie died with the Master's training buff. What do you think, old Grande?
He doesn't get them reset.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, and I'm not sure zombie's going to come back with Master's training buff either. So
she doesn't, but it does reset his cooldowns.
Right.
Was it?
So here's how you need to think about zombie. Right. Here's how you think about it. When zombie dies, a different zombie comes back. Not the same zombie, a different one. It's like one dies, and it's like there's a never-ending pool of zombies. One dies, another one comes back. One dies, a different one comes back. Another one dies, a different one comes back. So it doesn't work the same way. That's why whenever zombie reses, they don't res with the buffs that they had when they died. It's a
And
different
she's got
one.
a different outfit on too.
Well,
she's accessorizing.
Just this one's wearing pearls. This one's wearing.
It's so every time it comes back, it makes sure it's fabulous.
That's right.
Oh, so it's not going to work. There's a lot of different theory crafting.
One thing, Grande, the Hermit Yoda do or do not Zeta is upon defeat of the zombie. So it's not on the res. It's whenever you have some master's training on somebody, if they die, then Hermit Yoda gets 100% turn meter and reset.
I understand, but then you're going to put master's training on the new zombie for it to happen again.
Right.
You see
Which is what you do when you get the 100% turn
we
meter.
tested with Adastra because we thought that exact thing. You could do that in a raid and put the buff on zombie, and then you just have this like amazing Hermit Yoda who's always able to do that great big second special heal of his, but it doesn't work. It works with Scarif Rebel Pathfinder. When Scarif Rebel Pathfinder dies, it does reset the cooldowns, but it doesn't with the zombie for whatever reason. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's if it's a bug for Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, if it's I don't know if it's working intended or not, but it doesn't reset the cooldowns, unfortunately.
All right.
Okay, so there we go.
It does it in arena though.
Wow.
Does it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe I'll get to see if Adastra wants. Oh, actually, I have a Hermit Yoda now. I can do it myself. Awesome.
Use me, you will, Chimney. Experiment, you will.
maybe it got fixed even. That would be a game changer. Because that's huge. That's a huge deal.
All right. Next question for Ramon. Remo. Question. How do the top guilds divide resources in terms of territory war defenses? Do you set your down 25 or so Emperor Palpatine CLSs and JTRs? I assume your guild has 50 of all three metas.
So is the question like what walls are we choosing, or?
Well, yeah. How do you set up your defense? Do you go with like the lowest 25 of like your Emperor Palpatine CLSs, JTRs, and then use your top ones on offense, or do you flip it? I mean, how do you? Assuming that everybody has in your guild has all those teams, right? So all 50 have those three meta teams. How would you divide and conquer and put those teams on defense?
Well, I think we do a little bit of a mixture of both. I mean, we kind of take, some factions will go with 50 of that faction, and then we'll in some cases we'll put like a strong. It also depends on who we're facing. So if we're facing a stronger guild, we'll put together a much stronger defense, because now that they've changed the way that territory wars works, and that you can it's based upon how many attacks it took you to win. You get a lot of benefit from winning the first battle, so it's good to save some good offensive teams as well. So if you're facing a weaker guild, we tend to put some stronger teams up front. So we'll put, like, let's say for Palpatine team first couple of phases. Emperor Palpatine, I'd say, Rey Jedi training, we've been saving lately. We've been putting up a KRU wall teams, and also we've also been putting up a Night Sister wall. So I mean, it depends on the territory. We kind of do it differently every territory war, like every different depending on the guild that we're facing. I mean, if we're facing like Warriors Guild, for example, we want to put as much defense out there as possible. But again, that can also be counterproductive, because if you don't have enough teams on offense to win any of the battles against them, you're going to be in trouble too. So we've typically just been using about 50 of let's say like a lower faction. So like we'll use like 50 like Night Sister squads, but then use like only 25 Emperor Palpatine squads, so we still have 25 on offense, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. All right, next question to Grim. This is from Bond fan. Question: if you could add retribution to one Toon's kit, who would it be? For me, it would be Jedi Knight Anakin.
To any Toon's kit, huh?
Yes.
Executioner.
Oh God.
Jesus.
That would be seriously.
Yeah, that's a good choice right there. But to be honest, I think I'd probably give it to Vader. So he'd always end up countering with that ability block.
Look at my beast, man. Good Lord. Can you imagine that?
Imagine Treya's basic with retribution.
God. My mind is a quandary of evil cascading thoughts. Alright, next question to Team Money, from Corey Dahlmeyer. And the question is, why do you have to refresh 100 times on the advanced search and guild search?
Because that's not the way you should be finding a guild. And the good, beautiful universe is telling you, stop that.
Stop it!
No, don't.
No more refreshing. No more have to go to the bathroom.
So I do look in there every once in a while because I'm curious. But the problem with the guild search is that a guild that needs to have a spot that's actually physically open in order to have that register and for them to show like, hey, we have space. But a guild who's being responsible with their tickets will have an alt in anytime that they have one or more spaces available. Additionally, often, maybe with Wolfpack, I have somebody, I don't have anybody right now, but say someone has said, I'm going on holidays or I'm going to take a break from the game, but they'll give me notice. They'll give me like a week or 2 weeks or just whenever you find someone who's suitable, if they're like a 3 million plus player, they'll just be like, whenever you find someone suitable, then I'll go. But I'm going so that we won't have a space that's actually ever showing. I will never, ever, 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 ever have like 49 out of 50 in our guild unless something weird is happening, or if it's like in between ticket time. Sometimes I do leave a space open, like our reset will happen, we'll get our 30,000 tickets, and then I'll take the alt out if we are actually looking for someone, and then it'll show that there's a spot just in case we get a good walk-in, because I have gotten a couple of really, really great kind of walk-in players that way. So I do leave it open. But the way that you want to find a guild, in my opinion, is to go to the Star Wars forums. So you go there. There's lots of Facebook groups. Reddit I don't know as well, but there's lots of Reddit posts. Then there's also some Discord channels. Let me get the name of the Discord channels. There's like one that's specifically for recruitment. Additionally, there will be like the First Order. We've had some great people come from there, like the First Order Discord server just has like a channel where you can post recruitment advertisements. So, you could go through there and, I don't know, I just think the First Order Discord servers, it's neat, it's very involved. And so anyone who's posting on there kind of legitimizes who they are. So those are the ways that I would find a guild, is going through, the advertisements. The advertisements also tell a lot more about the guild than that like one sentence that you're allowed to put in for the guild descriptor. Finally, if you are a super duper crazy keener and you're great in arena and you're looking for a super competitive guild, no, I'm not going to pitch us. The best way to find a guild, and we had someone come this way, is to go into Star Wars Galaxy, so SWGOH.gg, go into the where they rank the guilds, and you can see like what the character, like what the GP of the guild is, and what their arena score is. So if you're like super keen first every day, you want to find a competitive environment, rather than like a shotgun approach, just go to that page and look at, say you're like 2 million GP. Well, then just, you're not going to be able to go to Team Instinct or some of the top guilds, but just go down until you find a guild that's around your GP and then approach them to go in. Because that, if they're all top 50 in Arena, then they're going to be a really active guild.
All right. Next question to Warrior. This is from WhatElse73. And the question is it just me, or does it seem like the game changers have been more quiet recently? Is CG keeping things super quiet in preparation for something big, or are they just resetting after the Sith raid?
Nobody's intentionally doing anything or not doing anything. Information in this game ebbs and flows. There's times when there's a lot of information, and we have to try to push all of that out to the community, and so it's like chaos, and there's 5,000 videos in 2 days from 20 game changers. Or there's periods of slower times, like after the Sith raid, where things are kind of quiet. Well, now we know that there's some reworks coming, a new character coming, and things like that. So, and they said at some point ships is going to be reworked. So there's all these like things that are in the works, and so you're seeing the momentum kind of start to pick back up a little bit, probably over the next few weeks, just because of the releases they said that they are doing. And of course, they were on Reddit talking about the beta and stuff. So I'm sure that with beta comes leaks. So there will probably be something about the beta and what beta is all about somewhere at some point. Hopefully, I would hope that everybody who agrees to beta does what they're supposed to, which is to keep their mouth shut. It's not about leaking information. It's about testing the new things to see if the new things are worth even putting in the game, because things are always going to be changed. Beta is really, it's never exactly how it comes in. So, but I think everybody's gearing up for some new stuff and ready to go. And I know we've got the reworks just looming, so I'm pretty excited about all of that. And I don't think anybody's intentionally quiet or anything. I just think information ebbs and flows.
All right. Last question to Grande. This is again from WhatElse73. How much longer do you think it'll be before they rework the Galactic Heroes and Jedi?
Oh man, so we kind of already know we're talking about a bounty hunter rework. When would we see a Jedi rework? We might see a Jedi rework with the next movie. That might seem to make sense.
So right? Year and a half, okay.
Should we potentially have one before that? Probably. It all depends. They typically like to do those reworks when it sort of makes sense with some other new content that's coming out, that kind of coincides with other media that's coming from Lucas. So Disney's creating a new streaming service that we know for sure is going to have Ezra and Sabine and probably Ahsoka on it. So you could potentially see it happen then as well. Or they might, there might be a book or something that comes out, or a new comic book that you might see it coincide with. I don't see them just doing it kind of out of the blue. Does it need to be done? Absolutely. And I think some of it, the whole Jedi faction is kind of different, right? So you have some characters like Grandmaster Yoda and potentially Qui-Gon, and that just need minor tweaks. You've got some characters like Old Ben, General Kenobi, and Barriss that probably don't need any reworks. And then you have some characters that don't need a rework. They just need a complete overhaul, or they need somehow where maybe they add another couple characters to the game to make those characters more efficient. Kid Fisto, Plo Koon, even Ayla Secura kind of come to my mind, of characters that really they need to focus a little bit more time on. It would make great sense whenever you see Traya out in the wild for quite some time that you end up with a rework where you have a couple of Jedi which have anti-Sith synergy, and as another possible way to counter some kind of Sith triumvirate. But as far as when it's going to happen, we've probably been talking about a bounty hunter rework for a year. So it would be very easy that we wouldn't see a Jedi rework for a year at least. It may not even be on there. It may be one of those things that they've wanted to do for a long time. We have We have Separatists that need to get reworked potentially, including Grievous. We have Jedi that need to get reworked. We have a bunch of stuff. We have factions that need to get their 5th character, or in some cases they need their 4th character and their 5th character. So you could easily see that it just depends on what the priority is and what kind of coincides with what Lucas is doing.
All right. And then, so that's all the regular questions. We have one fun question. We're going to go around the corn. Around the corn fun question. Han Solo, Deadpool, or the Avengers? Which are you most excited to see? Warrior, we'll start with you and we'll work our way around.
Man, that is the toughest question of the day. I'm going to see all 3 of them for sure.
Oh, yeah, me too. Yeah.
Infinity War looks pretty good. I'll give them that. I think that those are always just kind of good. But I'm actually most excited about the Han Solo movie because of Rogue One. And this is why. Rogue One was kind of a first attempt at a standalone on the side, but mainstream movie, right? Every other thing that was done on the side, kind of, cartoons and things like that are different. We're talking mainstream movie making. And Rogue One, in my opinion, was better than anything they've made in the last 20 years. So because of that, I think that they have this ability to have this freedom when they're making it to kind of go where they want and what they want. And if they even do a couple tie-ins, we get crazy excited, but we have less expectations as a fan. And because if it's, Luke's story, we're like, Luke has to take down an AT-AT or he's not cool. And that's what we want to see. And then when we don't see it, we're like, really? He just faded off into the abyss? Come on, that's not what we wanted. So it was kind of sad because we have these huge expectations. So the movies that they're putting out that are decent don't feel that way because they're not meeting our expectations. So I think Han Solo's there's not as many expectations. And so we're going to like it a lot better. Kind of like Rogue One's the highest rated movie that they've put out in, almost 40 years. So that one I'm most excited about, but Deadpool comes into a close second for sure. The first Deadpool was phenomenal. And I think that the second one will be as good as the first one, which is difficult to do, but I think they'll do it.
All right. Grande, your thought, which one?
Kind of like Warrior. I'm definitely going to go see all 3 of these movies. These are all iconic for multiple different reasons. I'll tell you right now that the kids and I are definitely going to go for the Infinity Wars. We're going to go all see that. My son is super pumped. His favorite Marvel character is Black Panther, and so we're really excited to see that. We have been watching all of the Marvel movies in series, not in chronological order, but there was a website that said how to watch them all in the correct order. And so we have like 47 hours worth of Marvel movies that we're watching in order, because some of these were, he's 7, so some of these came out before he's even born, right? So we're watching, so he's 2000. Yeah, exactly. So we're watching them all in order. He's super pumped about it. So we're definitely going to go see that. The kids and the family obviously know that I'm a really big Star Wars fan, and I do agree that having a movie that's Star Wars but doesn't follow the typical episode model means that storytelling gets to be different, and we get to have a little bit of nuance in the storytelling, and potentially get to learn some more about some new characters. Definitely going to go see that. Deadpool, I love Deadpool as a series. I love that as a cartoon because he breaks down the fourth wall. Definitely not going to be one I bring the kids to.
No.
However, that one will be a great date night movie with my wife and I, because she has a incredibly funny sense of humor. She loves when people act dumb and act silly. I mean, that's why she decided to marry me. So we will definitely go see that one and have a great time with that as well. Probably get wasted before we go and take a cab over and then, and then take a cab back home. But it'll be a lot of fun. All 3 are great. Probably, if I had to say it, I'm probably more interested in the Infinity War movie, just because my son's super excited, and then the Solo movie second, and then Deadpool third.
All right. Grim?
All 3 of those I think are going to be amazing movies. I'm excited for all three.
Just pick one.
Mainly Deadpool 2.
Yeah.
But, I still want to see Super Troopers 2 more.
Okay. Ramon, what do you got? You got one you could pick?
Yeah, well, I mean, the Star Wars fanboy in me wants to say Solo, but I'm really amped up for Infinity War. So I mean, I don't know, I don't know which one is the most kind of a toss up there, but I guess I'm most excited to see Infinity War, but Solo, I think has potential because kind of like Warrior said, I really don't have that much expectations for it, and I mean, I never really wanted to see the story of how Chewie and Han met, but being that they're going to that time period, there's a lot of cool things that could occur around their meeting, right? Like there's characters from the Clone Wars TV show, there's characters from Rebels, there's characters that we know from the original trilogy that we haven't seen yet in a while, like Lando, that we're going to see in the movie. It would be cool if they throw some nice Easter eggs at us, like some characters maybe like Embo in there, or some of these bounty hunters, maybe like Boba Fett, or some of these characters that we really don't know their origin story yet, or in the new canon anyway. It would be cool to see them kind of get thrown into the mix in one of these films, and either set it up for them to have their own solo movie at some point, or just kind of at least give us some background and at least some sort of nod towards some of these other shows that we watch. So I mean, yeah, I would love to see like Embo and Solo or something like that. But yeah, if I had to give it priority order, I'd say Infinity War, then Solo, and then Deadpool. But I'm going to watch all three just like everybody else.
All right. And T-Money.
Well, as you know, I like to have a fourth answer for everything.
God.
Of course, I mean, Solo, I'm super excited to see that. I'm trying to get used to
Princess
the lead
Bride
actors.
2? Is that what you're going to do? Princess Bride 2 is okay.
No, Marvel Rising. I think it's Marvel Rising Secret Heroes or something like that, and it's the first Squirrel Girl movie, and oh my gosh, I'm such a Squirrel Girl fan. My son is a huge Squirrel Girl fan. It's adorable. We've been doing kind of planning out some Minecraft streams, me and him, and he's just like, okay, so you're Squirrel Girl and I'm Tippy Toe. I'm like, I love you so much. And we're reading her novel right now. She's got a couple of novels out to read all of her comics all the time, so I am so excited for Squirrel Girl. And if you don't read, if you have young kids, under 8, Squirrel Girl is such an awesome read because there's not a ton of violence. It's not super scary, but it's really funny and lots of adult jokes and stuff in there that you're gonna think are fantastic and great. So, and then of course I'm playing Marvel Strike Force right now. I'm in Grimm's Guild, and the reality skewed Gamers Guild, which Grimm is the leader of, and so I'm stoked about the Infinity Wars movie too.
All right. So that's all the questions for today. So what we'd like to do now is we're going to close everything out. Thank you everybody for being here. We're going to allow everybody to pimp their stuff. So I'm just going to go down the list, top of the list, and work our way down. Warrior, where can the good folks check you out at?
They can check me out on YouTube at Warrior Presents. It's YouTube /Warrior Presents. Or you can find me on Twitter at this handle at Warrior Present with no S on the end because some joker got my Warrior Presents before me. So, yeah. So I always check to see if that one gets canceled by checking every month or so. But no, whoever it is enjoying it. But yeah, so Facebook, I'm on there occasionally. If you go to the group on Facebook, there's about 55,000 people on that. It's actually bigger than Reddit, has been for over a year. I am very, very active on that Facebook. We're constantly talking, answering questions, but don't think that they're any nicer than Reddit. This is a rough bunch of people, but it is a good time.
All right. Rimon, where can folks check you out at?
Well, you can check me out at Ramon Azab, REMON, Remon, on YouTube. And you can follow me on Twitter at Ramon Azab as well. And part of the Alliance Gaming community, so you can go to the alliancegaming.com to see links to my content and also Discord. And for those of you that like live shows like this one, I do one once a week as well with my buddy good old Maurice, and we're gonna be doing that tomorrow night. So you should come check that out. But yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it.
All right.
Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Team Money G, where can folks check you out at, eh?
Yeah, so we're on tonight there, Ranger?
Like you have to ask.
I always ask. Every week I'm like, am I allowed on Saturday night? He's like,
shush.
Yes. So Saturday nights we do the RSG mature channel. Mature. I like to say mature channel.
That sounds French.
Where we never know what's going to happen on there. Sometimes there's a ton of gaming. Sometimes there's a ton of silliness. So that's where I'm hanging out on Saturday nights. And then on Thursday nights, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we stream good old Maurice, Grand Admiral Teals, and Darth Bob. We all stream together as co-hosts on the League of Extraordinary Nerf Herders, and that's kind of the same kind of toss-up as Saturday night. Sometimes it's like super intense game knowledge. You got to kind of have your hands above your head, or it's gonna, the info is gonna go over there. Sometimes it gets really kind of in depth, or we're really goofy, and usually it's a wonderful balance of both. We have our Discord server, and that's just kind of, I don't know, it's like kind of family home for us. Hey, it's Grim is one of our. I won't tell you what he's called. It's a plus 18 server. It's very dirty, and it's not appropriate for anyone under the age of 18, certainly, and no one over the age of 18 for that matter either. But everyone is welcome. It's a very friendly and all-inclusive server. So join us there.
All right. So I think that's everybody that needs to pimp. Graham, anything you want to pimp for your channel, or are you still kind of in limbo with that?
I think I'm going to just be pimping your guys' stuff for a while.
Okay. Well, you are part of the RSG crew, so I mean,
catch me on the lunch streams on the weekdays with Ranger, Finn, Sanely, and Xylo. Awesome group of people, the RSG guys.
No,
make sure to like and subscribe.
Awful. We're awful. All right, and then that's it for us. If you're watching this, of course, like Graham kind of just see the good segue there. This is the RG channel. We do Jedi Academy every Saturday as much as we can, pretty much all the time. But there will be days when we will not be doing it here and there for holidays, stuff like that. But yeah, you check this out every day from 10 a.m. to usually about 12 p.m. whenever we get done. And then tonight we'll of course be on the RC Mature channel doing our fun stuff there. Before then, I'll do some Battlefront 2 stuff. So we'll do some more Battlefront 2 streams. If you would like to join, you're always welcome to come join us for that. And if you want to play the game, as long as you have Skype and can talk to me and you got the game on Xbox, you're more than welcome to come. And that'll be later on to this afternoon, this evening. Also, we have the lunch stream as Grim mentioned. We run that from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern every Monday through Friday, where we just sit back and kind of answer your questions, hang out for you guys, give you something to listen to, bring up your indulgence of your day at work or wherever you're at. And then every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, is our big Star Wars Galaxy Heroes show, where we break down all the greatest news and all the latest in news and notes from Star Wars Galaxy Heroes and kind of tell you what it all means and break it down for you. So that's what's going on. And in between, we're doing a whole bunch of other games where Battlefront 2, we've been streaming that a ton. We'll be doing some other games too. So, the best way to get all this updates and stuff is basically subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and make sure you give us a thumbs up, leave comments. That's the best way to help the channel, and not just our channel, but all these great channels. These lovely people come here to take time out of their busy days and take time out of their busy schedules to answer questions for you guys. So it'd only behoove you to go and support them back. So I think that's it for us today. So stay tuned for more Battlefront 2 and a whole bunch of other stuff we got coming down the pipe for today. On behalf of myself and all the guests and crew, thank you guys for being here. Remember, if you have questions we did get to, which we did get to all the questions like we normally do, but if you have more questions that you want answered, then just come to the RSG Discord. It's linked down below, and you can find us there. And of course, you can check us out later on YouTube and download us as a podcast on iTunes. All right, so everyone have a great rest of your day. We will holler at you later. Be safe and take care.